Ace Podcast.
And they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. I'll hold on to the wings of the eagles. Watch as we all fly away. Hey, oh, let's go. Hey.
This isn't your old Spider-Man. This is your new Spider-Man. Blood and Black Rum Podcast presents Spider-Man Homecoming. Hey guys, welcome back to the Blood and Black Rum Podcast. I'm Ryan from themoonisadeadworld.net, and I'm joined with my co-host, Martin.
How's it going?
Pretty good, actually. Doing pretty well. We've got a cool show for you today because we're talking about the newest Marvel film that's in theaters right now, Spider-Man Homecoming. It's pretty entertaining, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on in the show, but...
You just ruined the whole review right there by giving it away right from the get-go.
No, that's not a... When I say it's pretty entertaining, that could mean like, well, I thought it was kind of fun, but it actually was quality-wise it sucks. Or it could also be, oh no, you know what? It's fantastic and I love it. And you know, it could be either or. You never know.
You gave it away already.
I didn't give it away.
You gave it away.
No, but anyway, that's what the introduction is supposed to do. It's supposed to entice.
Hook.
It's supposed to get those listeners in. It's like, well, I'm thinking about tuning out. I'm not a huge fan of Spider-Man. Then, wait a second. And then it's entertaining.
But then you play a little blues trailer hook, and then it brings them back.
That's true. Little ball tease.
I like my nice 1994 alt-rock reference.
Yeah, that was
for all you youngins out there.
Fantastic. Everybody's like, who's that?
You know, but that goes perfectly because our intro, for those who suffered through it,
yep,
you might have turned it off because the intro, the intro is Nickelback, and for the first Spider-Man movie, Nickelback had the lead song for it, "Hero."
Yeah,
and you didn't even remember it. I remember that being a pretty big thing back in the day.
I didn't remember it. No, and if you're listening, please don't tell Nickelback because they'll be all over us for the copyright infringement, I'm sure.
I still love the video of them like at a concert in like Spain or Portugal, and the crowd's booing them. And like, you guys want to rock or not? And someone throws a rock and hits Chad Kroeger right in the head.
I remember that.
And then they walk off stage.
I remember they did play a
great.
truncated show that day. Yeah, that was amazing.
But no, like, that's something we're kind of missing from today's films, like modern pop and rock acts being associated.
Yeah, because they used to do that quite a bit.
Scream 3 with Creed.
Yeah, everything.
What if? Yeah, remember that because they put on the VHS. I remember
featuring the
music video.
From Creed. Yeah,
Me, Myself, and Irene.
Those are like the original like extras.
Yeah,
for before DVD and Blu-ray. It was like,
really took
what's
off.
the extra on the VHS tape? Like at the end of the film. Fast forward all the way to see Creed singing the theme song.
Or from Me, Myself, and Irene, you had Foo Fighters, Learning to Fly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You remember those better than I do.
I love that song.
I don't remember any of the shitty...
And I used to like Creed as a kid, so...
Yeah.
Little Nicky had P.O.D. Can't remember what P.O.D. song. They had P.O.D.
I have no idea. I really don't. But all we know is that for Nickelback... the original Spider-Man is actually not a bad film.
And
looking back on it,
did it come out before X-Men or was which one was first? Because is X-Men or Spider-Man that really got the boom? I think they came out in the same year. I can't remember which one came first, but they both were really successful. And you can really do comic book movies well because a lot of people. Well, they don't. I wouldn't say forget because a lot of people.
Yeah, X-Men came first, by the way. 2000, and then Spider-Man followed up in 2002.
Okay, but I mean, a lot of people thought after Batman and Robin was such a debacle, it's like can't do comic book movies anymore. They're not profitable.
Right.
They're shit shows.
Yeah.
And then X-Men and
And it
came out, and it was a great success, and then you had, Spider-Man.
And after Batman and Robin, that's pretty much where I dropped off in terms of my birthday parties, going to see superhero films for a while.
Yeah, you took us to Fantastic Four, though.
I did. Yeah, that was the next big thing. It was like, oh, Spider-Man, X-Men doing well. Let's go to Fantastic Four.
That was still a couple of years. That was like even after Spider-Man 2.
It was, yeah. Yeah, it took a while. But that original Spider-Man is actually a pretty fun film.
I still like it.
Yeah.
I think Tobey Maguire was pretty pretty good in it.
Yeah, no, I think he is too.
I like Tobey Maguire.
I do. Yeah, I'm from what I've seen him in. I haven't seen him in a whole lot of things, but the Spider-Man movies, except for Spider-Man 3, which is very moody and
well, pop emo was a thing at the time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You guys see him in Pleasantville, which is also the great Jeff Daniels and William H. Macy vehicle. But no, I thought Tobey Maguire was really good in those films. I thought he played like a pretty good kind of older Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's pretty much the idea with that Spider-Man is that it's an older Peter Parker. It's a high school age Peter Parker.
But you can tell it's like the whole thing he's like 17, but he's actually 28,
Yeah.
It's Saved by the Bell. It's like, oh, what are these 30-year-old kids doing in school still? But but no, I thought, Tobey Maguire in the original Spider-Man was really good, and I thought Willem Dafoe was great.
Yeah.
It's Green Goblin.
Always a good. Always
hamming
good
it up, but it was a lot of fun. But no, I still have fond memories of Spider-Man and X-Men. Thought they were pretty good. X-Men X2 I thought was good. I thought Spider-Man 2 was good. Then X3 was crap, and Spider-Man 3 was crap, and Fantastic Four was crap, and Hulk was crap, and it took a while. Until Batman Begins came around for things to all right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But for a while, it's pretty strong.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they did it. They had a number of good films. I think the Spider-Man series was part of that. It was a surprising success, I think. And even, looking back on it, it's surprising that they rebooted Spider-Man so quickly after that original trio of films. Because
I'm not, because Hulk got rebooted within 2 years.
Yeah, well, that was a different story because the first Hulk film, not good. Next Hulk film, also not good. So
Edward Norton, though I love him, think he's an amazing actor. Kind of miscast probably as Bruce Banner in the second one.
Yeah,
I can't even remember who played Hulk in the first one.
I don't remember that either. I don't know.
And then you have Mark Ruffalo now, who's like, I'm Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo can do anything. That's why.
Just bland Mark Ruffalo, as he always does. Just like, hi, I'm Mark Ruffalo.
I don't know. I like Mark Ruffalo.
Him in the new Marvel films just reminds me of him in Shutter Island. Like, what's going on, boss?
Yeah.
How's it going, boss?
Yeah.
Okay, boss. Well, that's whatever. just kind of there. Yeah. But I didn't see the Amazing Spider-Mans because I was like, I don't fucking care.
I did. I saw the first Amazing Spider-Man. I didn't see the second one. But again, I felt like the Amazing Spider-Man was actually a pretty good film. And so you have these two different film franchises, really. Regular Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and technically they're different. One's Mary Jane, one's Gwen Stacy. So there's a little bit of a difference there between them, but it is really surprising that first of all they rebooted them so quickly, and then secondly now we have a third venture into Spider-Man territory. So it wasn't that,
but right. But at the same time, it's not weird because again, it's only been a couple of it hasn't even been. Oh, it has been 10 years since The Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. But I mean, when they were planning that shit out, only 5 years after, hey, everyone loves the Nolan movies. Guess what? Affleck's your Batman now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think if something they'll keep doing it now until it can't make money anymore. And if it flops, they'll just say, okay, we're gonna reboot it again.
True.
It didn't go we still made money, but not as much as we thought. So we'll just be all right. Well,
Well, I don't think Spider-Man Homecoming has anything to worry about in that sense. It's making money and it's doing really well critically.
And it's part of the already established
Marvel Universe. So I don't think it has any worries there. And at the same time, I think that it does a really good job of a soft reboot, which we'll talk about as we get into the actual film discussion. But it's a soft reboot. And on the last episode, you know, in our outro, when we were talking about the next film that we're going to cover, we were saying we're going to do Spider-Man Homecoming. We both expressed concern that this is yet another reboot in the Spider-Man franchise. We were hoping that there's no sort of backstory. Like, we don't need any more backstory about how Peter Parker gets to be Spider-Man. But what makes him that?
But at the same time, though, you had, I guess you could say, I'd say that was a mild concern for me. Because, again, it's already part of the Marvel canon, which has been going on for over a fucking decade now.
Yeah.
So, at this, like, I don't have concern. Like, they already got it mapped out and kind of know where to go. I mean, granted, would this film be less enjoyable if it was just like, okay, this is how Spider-Man becomes, you know, Spider-Man type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, then it would, you know, because then it's like, all right, we're set in the present day, but then like what Wonder Woman essentially did.
Right, is go back in time and show.
Which is literally like, it didn't do anything to set up Justice League. It didn't do anything to set up, you know, like the next Batman film or anything. It's just like, okay, because we got to kind of, you know, Gal Gadot was just in, you know, Batman v Superman. How do we kind of get people
interested
to see Wonder Woman? Well, we gotta do her backstory. And it's just like her having a flashback, like, oh, look at all my dead friends from World War One.
Yeah,
you know, ta-da.
I mean, I think that Spider-Man Homecoming would have been worse if it had done the whole backstory thing. We don't need to see it all over again. I think it's even people who don't follow comics or don't know Spider-Man very well.
Someone's gonna be next to them who can just be like, sorry,
I think that there's enough of that backstory already all around them that they would at least know, okay, Peter Parker got bitten by a radioactive spider and now he's Spider-Man. You don't really need to know any more than that.
They do mention that very briefly.
Yeah.
But it's there, you know.
And I think even, you know, the whole Uncle Ben storyline where that really sets Peter Parker into motion as a character who is driven to stop crime in his small town. I don't even think that's really, well, small...
Queens? New York City, yeah. Small town, Ryan, yeah.
Well, considering that...
John Mellencamp singing, you know, small town there.
Well, considering that throughout most of it, Peter Parker wants to be an Avenger working across the world, it is technically a small town considering he would be working worldwide rather than just regular in New York City, so it is in that sense.
Yeah.
But I think that's not even needed.
Why help kids in fucking, like, Lithuania when you know the aliens and shit are always going to be attacking things like New York City? He's at ground zero.
True. But I think, like, Uncle Ben, that story's not needed at all because there's enough...
I am thinking, like, what would Uncle Ben look like in this timeline?
Yeah, because...
Who is married to Marisa Tomei?
Right, because we need a Marisa Tomei husband. It's
probably someone like Frumpy, too.
I don't know. I hope they...
I think, like, she'd be, like, married to some, like, chud of a person. Like, he just has such a great, like...
Because she sees the best in everybody. Like, as how they make her out to be.
Because she's got those Sally Jesse Raphael glasses.
Exactly. You know? Like, they wanted to make her look kind of frumpy, even though she's got a banging ass.
I was saying, and again, what a nice early 90s reference that is for all you kids out there.
Yeah.
Sally Jesse Raphael. But she looks amazing. Before we even get like into the actual...
Before we even get into the show.
She looks great for her age. I would never guess she's like in her early 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
No, I mean, I think that she does look great. And that was a big concern with like Spider-Man Homecoming 2 as she was cast. And it's like,
well, no, because
Aunt May...
that was brought up in the Avengers.
It was, yeah. But it was it's a big decision to have Marisa Tomei being Aunt May, but it works because everybody's younger in this than they generally would be in a Spider-Man.
Now, my big question is, how are they, now I'm thinking about, like, how are they related? Because, like, he was constantly throughout the film just calling her May instead of Aunt May.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, is she, like, some, like, distant relative where he's like, oh, yeah, like, she's pressing her tits up against me.
I don't know.
That's okay.
I don't know the relationship. Like,
I want to say, by the way, wow, what a shot for that news article was. It's like, here's Marisa Tomei's tits. Like,
yeah, I don't know the specific, the relationship between them. I'm assuming it's just his aunt, and it looks like it is. her last name's Parker. It's possible that...
I just found it weird he was always just calling her May instead of,
I guess maybe it's just like a contemporary thing. Like, don't worry about the
formality.
The formality of calling me aunt because I'm the cool aunt. You know what I mean? I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
I
don't know why they chose to format it like that, but whatever. I'm down with it. Didn't bother me any.
Makes me want to watch My Cousin Vinny.
All right, we're going to take a break real quick. We're going to come back and we're going to do our beer talk because we got 2 beers to talk about on this episode of the cast. 4?
We had 2 over the weekend.
That's true. I didn't know if you wanted to bring them up on here or not.
Well, they could just be a quick mention.
So we got 4 beers to talk about. When we return from the break,
you sounded flabbergasted. You were stunned.
Didn't even really remember the weekend. So no.
Glad I took that day off.
That's right.
Couldn't even remember.
So we'll be back in just a second. But first, a word from a podcast friend.
Hey there, neighbor. It's me, Head Librarian Gavin. I co-head librarian the Red Light Library, that erotic-only library off 2nd Street. Yeah, you know the one. Hey, did you know we're running a podcast now? That's right. And the thing is, we're reviewing the worst erotica we can find online for money, and I've been reading about a lot of weird things banging lately. Like, I could just sit here and tell you about the snowman, the leprechaun, the psychic Utah Raptors that start an orgy, the questionable lesbian with the applesauce scene that's really disgusting, and the Donald Trump. Or you could just listen yourself. Use your favorite podcatching app or look us up on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. We're all over the place. The Red Light Library. Search it, you'll get us. Now for why I'm really here. Can I borrow your chainsaw again? We've tracked down an overdue book in someone's car and we need to retrieve it with, shall we say, extreme measures.
All right, so we're back and we've got a couple of beers on the podcast today. And the ones
you can tell by that slur by Ryan. He's had a couple already.
That's right. And the 2 that we have on the podcast today they both happen to be juicy IPAs.
One of them, literally.
No, but I mean both of them are literally juiced IPAs. And
that's not the name of the other one.
One of them is Dogfish Head's Flesh and Blood IPA, which is a blood orange style IPA. And I know that when I picked it up, you weren't enthused.
No.
You did not want to really have this on the show because you're sick of IPAs at this point.
Mainly West Coast IPAs.
You're being a big old grump about them.
I'm sick of West Coast IPAs. There's nothing different. Nothing that sticks out about them. They're all the fucking same.
Interestingly, one beer that we did not do on the show, which I had last week, was the Centennial IPA that Founders makes. And you were adamant that you were not going to be drinking the Centennial IPA every time that I had it.
No.
And it's the same with the Flesh and Blood IPA. You gave me a little bit of an attitude that I got it. I picked it up, and you said they're all the same.
Yeah, pick something different.
Well, the Dogfish Head Flesh and Blood IPA, I think, is a pretty good IPA, although you're right when you say that the blood orange does not come out very much at all.
No, I'm right. And I feel bad for going back to the Centennial IPA. I feel bad because I love Founders. Mm-hmm. But I am fucking sick of the West Coast IPA. No matter what you try doing to it, it tastes like a West Coast IPA. You're not doing anything to it that makes it differentiate because the hop taste and the hop character is so overwhelming. Whatever you try shoving in there just isn't going to work. We talked about before in a previous episode when we did Sierra Nevada Sidecar, which is like West Coast IPA with like orange and tangerine. Couldn't fucking taste it. Tasted like a fucking IPA. Mm-hmm. It's very pissy, disappointing, and it pisses me off. Don't fucking like. You may have put it in there, but you didn't get a right balance to it. And I would say the same thing about Dogfish Head. Again, I like their beers, but I'm fucking sick. I'm sick of the fucking West Coast IPA. This literally tastes like a West Coast IPA. There's nothing that stands out that makes you like, oh, there's hints of blood orange at the end. It's so barely noticeable, you're gonna be like, I'm drinking their 60-minute IPA. Not a bad beer, but again, it's like you're not fucking doing what you're trying to set out to do. That's make a different take and variety on it.
I mean, I think
it's not like it's noticeable. Like if you're drinking like a black IPA, you can tell it's a fucking black IPA or a white IPA. That you can tell. If at least with a white IPA, if done right, it tastes like a mix of a Belgian wheat and an IPA. Just adding a random fruit character to it doesn't work. And so to me, like I said, it's disappointment. It's a waste of money.
I think the fruit character at this point has become such a staple of the regular IPA in general that
with the hop notes,
that you don't get as much of a noticeable flavor out of it when you're adding more citrus to it. So in this case, with the blood orange,
like the hops they use for West Coast IPAs are already citrusy as it is. So it's not like whatever you put in there. Like if you put a fruit in there, it can't be citrusy. It has to be something different.
Yeah, I agree. I think we do see that a little bit in that there is something that's a little bit different about the other beer that we have on the show today. And that's the Sam Adams Rebel Juiced IPA.
Which I got because no one had Zima.
That's true. We were looking for Zima. We've been looking for Zima. And there's no Zima to be found around us.
I saw it once, and I didn't think to get it because I thought, like, oh, it's back. And
same. I saw it once.
I didn't know it was going to be out for a weekend, and then, fucking gone.
And then gone. But we have the Sam Adams Rebel Juiced IPA on here. We've had a couple of other Rebels on the show, but we've never had the Rebel Juiced IPA. And so Martin got it to try it because, we want to try them all.
I think the only one we haven't had on is the Rebel Rouser. We've had the regular Rebel, the Grapefruit, the Session Rebel, and this.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're missing that one. But the Rebel Juiced IPA has a mango infusion in it. And
mango juice
infusion.
Yeah.
And I think that in this case, the mango really comes out. I mean, you can't say that you can't taste the mango in this.
No, you can, but I think to a fault, it's almost like a cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How much you can
or almost shandy too.
Shandy too. Like a cocktail or shandy. That's how much the juicy mango presence is in this beer, which I'm not saying I'm the biggest fan of because I think mango and an IPA can work great if you balance it right because we have had grapefruit IPAs and such on here before that have a good balance that or with what we had over the weekend with Adirondack's Tangerine Dream.
Yes.
That's a great balance between, pale ale and tangerine. You get best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I think they have so much of a strong mango juice character to it, it's totally mitigating whatever IPA you get out of it. Because on the bottle it says it's 55 IBUs. You would not taste 55 IBUs out of this. You get no bitterness from this beer at all. In fact, I would say the juice mellows it so down to it's almost not even a session IPA. It's a session pale ale.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because it's 6% alcohol.
Right. I think that the mango comes out quite a bit, and it may be to the detriment of the beer because then that takes away from the bitterness of the hops. It really doesn't mesh as well as it could.
It's almost like you're drinking candy. But I will say I do like this more than I like the Dogfish Head, just because, okay, it doesn't work either, but it's not I rather have it overwhelming on the notes that they're supposed to be adding to the style than not enough, because if it's overwhelming, you can at least enjoy oh, they tried this, didn't work. If it's underwhelming, then it's well, why the fuck did you even bother trying to tinker?
Yeah.
So I'll give I'll say I like the Rebel Juice more just because it's something totally different. It's like a hybrid shandy IPA.
And I will say that I like the Dogfish Head Flesh and Blood more than
it's a better crafted IPA.
Yeah.
The Dogfish Head. But again, I'm sick of West Coast IPAs.
True.
Nobody all these brewers need to stop. I know it's popular and people like craft beer snobs love them. Like, different. I can taste all 7 hops in this beer. Yeah. Noble and sweet. No, fucking stop. Get more creative. Do something different.
I will say that
I want to see Sam Adams do a fucking cream ale.
Yeah.
I want, or something, something different. A Dort.
Yeah.
Not everyone doing it in a West Coast IPA and a fucking goes, because that's what's cool and hip and what sells in California.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I think that Sierra Nevada does a better tropical IPA than this Rebel Juiced.
Dude, I can't remember if I had that.
You did, yeah, and you enjoyed it quite a bit.
Because I thought about picking that up. I couldn't remember if I tried it, and if I did try it, if I liked it.
You've had it before, and I like that one more than this Rebel Juiced IPA because it does balance them quite a bit better than this one does.
Which makes no sense. And how do you fuck up the sidecar? How do you not?
No idea. No idea.
Different brewers, just like, yeah, all right, we got, master brewer working on the tropical and then the intern working on the sidecar. Maybe their brewers aren't like Heineken, where it's like, have you seen the commercial for Heineken lately?
No.
It takes 15 years to become a Heineken brewmaster. It's like, why?
What do they need to real? There's no change.
Recipe. I like Heineken and all, but what's 15 years to get the process? I know
it's basically following the instructions on those at that point. So
you're being silly.
I don't see it. I don't see it. All right.
Maybe they mean that for the Heineken Amber Dark, or the one that doesn't taste good.
All right, we're gonna take another break. Hear from another podcast. And we'll be back with our Spider-Man Homecoming review, so stay tuned.
It's 2 middle-aged dudes and a microphone.
Hey there, this is Aaron.
And this is Craig. We are 2 middle-aged dudes and a microphone, the podcast that brings you the best in weird news twice a week.
We report the stories you just won't find on your local news, and we do our own research to make sure that all the stories we report are true.
2 middle-aged dudes and a microphone.
Always family-friendly, always fun.
All right, guys, so we're back for the Spider-Man Homecoming review. And I just wanted to throw a shout out to our friends over at Divided by Werewolves who had responded to us when I put out a question asking about what they thought about Spider-Man Homecoming. And they said that they thought it was a perfect Ultimate Spider-Man movie, but just an okay regular Spider-Man movie. And yes, they're that big of a nerd. So just thinking about that, I don't know that much about Ultimate Spider-Man, nor do I know that much about regular Spider-Man, because I don't follow the comics. But in general, I thought Spider-Man Homecoming was a very good movie, and probably one of the best that we've seen and covered for the podcast out of the Marvel universe. And I think you felt the same way, especially after coming out of the film, what you said to me leaving the theater.
No, I liked it a lot.
That's not how you posed it when we left the theater.
Because I'm not.
You had time to contemplate over it, and you're like, well, maybe I didn't like it as much as I first thought I did.
I'm not gonna divulge that info. You're talking about the hook. I'm not.
All right. You thought it was a very good film. Okay. Well, I want to talk about this a little bit. We've covered
Marisa Tomei.
We've covered quite a few Marvel films and DC films in the past on the podcast, and I would say that I am more of a fledgling Marvel person. I don't know enough about Marvel to really be able to geek out about it. I don't follow the comics. I have not even seen, a lot of the other Marvel films, like any of the Thors, any of the Iron Mans.
Neither have I. We've said that before.
We've said that before. But I would say that out of the films that I've seen, which include Doctor Strange, Captain America, Civil War.
You just call that Civil War.
Sure. Civil War.
They didn't even need to put, You're
right. Ant-Man, the two Guardians of the Galaxy films.
Totally forgot about Ant-Man.
I
haven't seen it. I'm sure if I see it, I'll be like, this is the most delightful film in the world. It's the best one. Paul Rudd's the star.
But out of all of those that I've seen, I do think that Spider-Man Homecoming is probably the most entertaining in terms of both storyline and the humor aspect to it. And Guardians of the Galaxy coming in a close second. But I think that this Spider-Man film, more so even than the past Spider-Man films that they have been, like The Amazing Spider-Man and the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, this one has a great balance between the humor and the lightheartedness and then the action sequences that make up a Spider-Man comic or you know, what should be part of the Spider-Man universe. I think that it does a really great job balancing all of those together. And also putting it into a film that has to show teenage like dynamics and relationships to an adult audience.
And a teen audience.
And a teen audience,
but,
yeah.
And not be, you know...
catering to one or the other.
And after-school special, you know, levels of cringeworthy. Like, usually when you see that, it's like,
right.
That's awkward. No, this is... They do it very well. And I'll tell you right now, did not expect it. I didn't think that at all. Going in, I didn't think making, like, Peter Parker be, like, 14 years old. Though he was funny and, you know, was a delight in Civil War.
You weren't expecting Tom Holland to really pull it out.
No, because he looks like a low-rent Michael Cera. His mannerisms and stuff, he looks like if you just look at the trailer, like, oh, he's 2017 now. It's been a decade since Superbad. Isn't everyone over this Michael Cera bullshit?
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I mean, when you see the trailer and you kind of just know the gist of Spider-Man Homecoming, it doesn't really look that promising. Especially since I didn't know that much about it. I was thinking there would be a lot of backstory.
I went into pretty blind. I only saw like a little bit of the trailer. It's not because I didn't think this film was gonna be good. I did want to see it, but it's just like I just didn't have like any desire really to go out of my way though to be like, what's gonna happen? Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, they're rebooting Spider-Man. I liked his cameo in Civil War. Loved Marisa Tomei's cameo in Civil War. Hi, Marisa. No, kidding. But you know, so. But at the same time, it's like with Civil War, I didn't see Ant-Man. Fucking Paul Rudd's great. Like, wow, Captain America.
And I don't even think that in Civil War, from the perspective of watching for Spider-Man, you even get a great introduction to that character as much as you do in Spider-Man Homecoming.
If you're a fan of the comics, and yeah, because he's a smart mouth, you know, making the quips and stuff, and you get to see that a little bit more in the intro of this movie. But I mean, like, from the cameo, it's like, okay, yeah, he's Spider-Man. Like, if you know anything about Spider-Man, like, yeah, he's cracking jokes while, you know, saving the day and whatnot. And, you know, and being, like, a smartass.
But I don't even think that,
He's not fucking Batman, like, where's the drugs going? You know, like, you wouldn't expect, you're not going to see Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man going, where's the other drugs going?
No, but that's not really what I mean. I mean that, like, when you saw Tom Holland in Civil War, there wasn't really much that was attracting you to that character per se.
But there's not much. His part in Civil War, though, is only to slightly entice you into the upcoming Spider-Man film, because at the point before that, it was owned by, owned by Sony. Mm-hmm. So Sony had the right, like, kind of with X-Men, how they don't have X-Men in the movies because 20th Century Fox got that shit on lockdown. And, you know, they won't give it up. They finally got Sony to cooperate and, you know, like, work a deal out where they could get Spider-Man into this. So, with seeing Spider-Man in Civil War, it's like, thank you. Can't have the Avengers and shit without Spider-Man.
At least he's there.
Yeah.
And I think that's...
So that alone, he could have totally sucked ass in Civil War. The promise alone, like, finally...
He's there.
He's there.
The
like,
Avengers.
Again, especially with the way like, Marvel and Disney have done these films, like they'll work something out, and they'll get it right.
I mean,
so
they're probably not hesitant to spend a lot of money on just the rights because at that point you have to.
Mickey flew in on Slave One with Boba Fett, like, oh, sorry.
That's true. That is true.
You have one of our properties, bitch! Ha ha ha! We want Spider-Man now, jackass! Ha ha! And then someone's like, "Oh no!" And they probably gave him $5 billion. Like, "Oh yeah,
yeah." No, I'm sure. But I think that what really makes Spider-Man: Homecoming work is that humor and a good plot, really, that doesn't blow all of its wad on a very important main villain. Yes.
Doesn't have a main villain. It's again, I mean, I know, like, most of the info that I know from Marvel is from movies. Some of the cartoon shows when I was a kid. Especially, because, like,
Marvel versus Capcom.
I do love them.
Although there's no real
connection,
knowledge there.
I did play Marvel vs. Marvel Ultimate Alliance because that came with my 360 when I got it, and I loved it. It was a great, like, dungeon crawl RPG, and you did get, like, to experience, like, you know, at that point when 2006, 2007, I didn't know, like, really that much about Marvel except from the movies and cartoon shows. So, like, seeing, like, Fing Fang Foom and Red Skull and MODOK. I'm like, what the, I didn't fucking know these things, but it's like, got me more immersed, and I liked it. But I never really got involved. Again, as we talked about before in the podcast, I mean, you know more about the comics, per se, than I do. Because, I mean, I only know, like, from, like, stuff on YouTube and Wikipedia.
And not even Marvel. I really don't know that much about Marvel.
But yeah, I'm just saying, like, from about Marvel and DC. Like, I know, like, the comic book stuff I kind of know from just reading stuff online. I'm interested. I want to. The fact that but the fact is, for both of us, we're such, like, continuity and perfectionist whores. For us, this guy's like, well, where the fuck do I begin?
Yeah.
Do I jump it right into, like,
There are good guides, but it really still bugs me that I have to pick up, in the middle of a random series in order to first meet Spider-Man, and then I jump to Spider-Man number one.
But again, I understand why, like, with, like, DC, like, it's been quite a while. It's almost been a decade now since New 52 launched, right?
Well, New 52 launched and ended.
Oh, it's already done?
Yeah, it only lasted for like 2 years and 52 issues for each one.
I thought New 52 was supposed to be like the new canon.
No, well, it isn't. Now they have Rebirth, which is their new...
Oh my... See, that's what pisses me off, because I thought, because back in the 80s, you had Crisis on Infinite,
Yeah.
And then that was supposed to blow up the universe, kind of do a reboot, and so you can, for new people to jump back in. And so with, like, New 52, I understand, like, the idea of it. It's like, okay, like, we're going to do, like, a reboot and, like, have, like, this event, and then... So you're telling me 52 is already over with?
Well, 52 is already over with, but in general, a lot of the storylines are carried over from New 52 into Rebirth.
That's why I don't read comics, because that to me it's like, just continue on, and then, like, if it gets too convoluted and bullshit again, then you reboot it again, and...
Yeah.
But anywho, getting off track. So from what I know from, like, Marvel, is from the cartoons and the movies. So with Spider-Man, I've never really seen him as, a teen. Mm-hmm. And done that way.
Spider-Man, as a young teen.
Yeah.
Basically, normally as a young adult, sort of like 17, 18-year-old.
That's what he's usually been, yeah.
Guy, yeah. And in this case, Spider-Man Homecoming, this is the epitome of teen. Young 14-year-old kid trying to figure out his place in his school, in everyday life, while at the same time juggling the difficulty of being a superhero at the same time. I think it works really well. I think John Watts is a great director for this. Despite the fact that the film has 6 different screenwriters on that film, it is a very seamless transition between them all.
I didn't... At the end credits, when you saw the screenplay written by 6 people, it's like, good Lord! Wow! Did that give, okay, here's Act 1 to 2 of you guys, and here's Act 2 to you.
Well, I would assume that it was probably written and then rewritten and then rewritten, and then you kind of have the amalgamation of, we took some from this guy's plot, and we took a storyline.
No, I know, I get that, but it's like, wow. Because, again, you're right, the film does not at all show any iota that this is, written by committee.
despite the fact that it's 2 hours and 13 minutes, it's a pretty fast film.
It doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't feel like it. It moves through a lot of both plot development and a lot of different like storylines and action sequences, which really surprised me because you have, if you think about like the early Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, where he's basically tasked with doing one thing, and it builds his backstory until he's finally Spider-Man. Well, and then
let's say the whole point of Spider-Man 1 is him becoming Spider-Man.
Exactly.
And how Harry Osborn becomes, Green Goblin, and then what happens, and then the fallout from that film is what sets up the next, 2 films, essentially.
Yeah. Spider-Man Homecoming has a lot more set pieces. There's a lot more action sequences in it where Spider-Man is doing things. You think about, there's a scene where Spider-Man has to hold a boat together, a ferry together. There's a scene where, Spider-Man has to, there's many scenes actually where Spider-Man has to fight the new villain that's in this film, Vulture.
Which I have never heard of it before, actually.
Right, exactly. I've never heard of it. But there's so much plot to move through in this film, but it does it in a seamless way, and you would never realize if you didn't see the credits that this was written by more than one person. It's very seamless in that regard, and I think that the plot is a really strong point for this film because there's a lot to get through, but it works, and it pairs the whole teen storyline of being in school, trying to figure out who you are, who your friends are, trying to get the girl, which in this case is not even Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy, but a different girl named Liz. There's so much story to get through, but it does it in a great way. And I think that it's due to both good script writing and a solid directing vision by John Watts. I mean,
a perfect cast.
Yeah, and a great cast. I think that Tom Holland, despite the young age, the issues like you said, where it kind of seems like they were looking for a Michael Cera-esque person to play the role, he's a very good. He's good in both the funny scenes, but he's also good in the serious scenes. And I think he has that sort of charisma to carry both ideas. Like, one is that we think of Spider-Man, and most people think of Spider-Man as being an adult who is a superhero.
Young adult.
I'm talking about like secret identity wise, like people in New York City would think of Spider-Man as probably an older person, an older superhero, saving the day.
And they play to that too, of like
they do, yeah, they play to that. Where in
an interrogation scene, the one guy's like, "Come on, the other night you sound like a 15-year-old girl."
Yeah. I think they realize that, they're playing with that. And it's really interesting how Tom Holland can swap between those roles. And I think he does a really good job with that. Probably more than he's even getting credit for. He's a good Spider-Man. I don't know, now seeing him, that there has been a better one. I think that Tobey Maguire was a good Spider-Man as well. But in this case, when you're looking for someone who's a little bit younger, you want to go like a younger route with a younger Peter Parker as Spider-Man. He's pretty much the perfect person to play this character. He's got that ability to have the fast quips, kind of a rambler, and he does it all really well. So I was impressed by Tom Holland particularly because he really carries this film. There's not, besides Michael Keaton's character, there's not a whole lot of other characters that
draw focus.
Right, exactly. They don't make like regular appearances. There is Peter Parker's friend, and he's also really good. That's played by Jacob Batalon, who's Ned. But
he's just stereotypical, like, oh my god, I'm the geeky friend.
Yeah, he's the geeky friend. He's a stereotypical friend. I think he does a good job, but again, there's not much there for him. So it's really up to Tom Holland and, to a lesser extent, Michael Keaton to carry this film. And I think Tom Holland does a really good job with it. I don't know if people, before coming to this coming into the film, I don't know if they would have believed that Tom Holland could carry this on his own as Spider-Man.
No, I think as well, though. I think as great of a job as he did, and I do think he did a great job. I think he's actually very enjoyable. He put, because as Peter Parker, he's unsure of himself and very doubts, but at the same time, he's very anxious to want to do things. He's trying constantly throughout the film, trying to get a hold of Happy and Tony Stark to prove that I can do things, But at the same time, while he's doing that, he's like, I don't know if I can do this, or I'm gonna die, and But at the same time, he really wants something, so he's trying to get past that. But he plays a great balance between he is not confident in himself, even as a superhero, but at the same time, he is, because he's trying to prove that he can do it. So it's weird to say that and think about it, that doesn't make sense. But if you think about especially if you've already gone through puberty and you're an adult, you remember how as a teen going through puberty at moments I'm fucking great.
Right, you're headstrong.
Yeah, and then
you can do it.
And literally 3 seconds later, you look at something I'm a fucking failure. What am I gonna fucking do?
Right.
So, and he does that. He captures that very well. I think though, the film is definitely boosted by the fact that Michael Keaton's the villain.
Yes.
Good Lord, is he fucking fantastic?
He's so fun.
He is just, again, as I said, Willem Dafoe in the original Spider-Man is hamming it up as Harry Osborn, the Green Goblin. Even more so than Michael Keaton in this film. Totally in that film, hamming it up and just enjoying and reveling in the fact, I get to be a Silver Age comic character, just totally, fucking bonkers and insane. Michael Keaton's like that, but he's more grounded at the same time.
I think that the throughout the most of the film, he's pretty well grounded, wherein you see okay, he's pretty much a normal guy, but he's really doing this for his family, and he's kind of made himself believe that he's doing it for his family, even though really
he enjoys it.
He enjoys being an evil villain. And in this case, it's basically about regular people finding alien technology and then using it for themselves.
Selling it, yeah.
And selling it. And that's basically Michael Keaton's character up until the point, and this is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen the film, definitely tune out. Giving you a second to tune out. Up until the point where we find out that he's Liz's father. And then he gets to ham the shit out of that role.
Which, by the way, it's not that's a shocker. Because at the same time, that's been done to death. Oh, I want to go on a date. And you find out the dad or whatever, it's your enemies related. Oh no, but as soon as that happens, it's great. He is hamming. He is totally just reveling. I can't wait to beat the shit out of this 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, no, I love that moment.
It's a substitute. Every teacher's wet dream. Oh, that's that little shit bat. If I could only just. I
mean, there's a lot of great moments about that reveal. And even if you're not really surprised by it, and I will say that I didn't really see it coming, and just because there was no real connection between Liz and Michael Keaton's character Adrian. At the same time, when that happens, it's a lot of fun. Not only because of Michael Keaton's reactions, because he does get to show his teeth and just have a lot of outlandish reactions, but also because of Tom Holland's reactions as Peter Parker, knowing that his girlfriend's father is his arch nemesis. It's a lot of fun, especially when we talk about why Spider-Man is codenamed Homecoming. It's because it takes place on the Homecoming dance. And so Tom Holland, as Peter Parker, is picking up Liz for the Homecoming dance. And that's when he realizes that Michael Keaton's character is actually Liz's father. There's a lot of fun to be had there, and that's really solely on Tom Holland's reactions, because constantly he's staring at Michael Keaton rather than taking pictures with Liz or, answering questions that Liz's mom and dad are asking him. He's mesmerized by the fact that Michael Keaton is his fucking arch nemesis, and he's come face to face with that. That's a lot of fun, and I think that's really where Michael Keaton gets a lot of his stride in the fact that when it's clear to the audience that he is the villain and also meant to be a sympathetic character because we know Liz and we like Liz and we know that Peter likes Liz. There's some sympathy involved in that. It's a lot of fun because then Michael Keaton really gets to play around with that. We want to sympathize with him, but he's also fucking crazy at times. And
I think the job has made him crazy.
Yeah, right, exactly. The job has made him crazy.
Because you see him in the intro, he gets the job to clean up, Stark Tower after, the attack on, because it's set, back, whatever, either the Avengers film or one of the Iron Man films. So this is the problem, not seeing,
Right, exactly. Yeah, basically, the fact is that part of the city was destroyed. They're cleaning up the mess
because of alien technology.
Yeah. So and they find alien technology in the wreckage, and that's where his idea is born to create alien technology weapons.
Because the job's taken from the fucking crew from the Mummy rolls up, and it says we're Section 502 and we're here, to tell you we're taking over this job. He's like, whoa, I just got a fucking contract for this to clean this shit up by the city. It's approved, and I just spent a shit ton of money to get guys and trucks, and they're like, yeah, we don't fucking care. So yeah, if I was him too, I'd be like, yeah, well, fuck you,
Especially, and basically, it's a fuck you to Tony Stark, because he's really the one that's running the operations that say, no civilians get to touch any alien technology. Taking jobs away from people who would just be generally cleaning up messes like that. And so it makes sense.
So I got to side with Michael Keaton on that. I'd be pissed off too. You spend all this money with your company and whatnot.
He's the blue collar worker.
He's got and they do they do fist in that when he's talking to Peter, those rich guys like them, they fuck us blue collar guys. They don't fucking care. At the same time, it's man, what are you trying to say with that? Because the film's basically portraying Tony Stark's praise Tony Stark. So he's saying we need rich people to suck from the rain that Reaganomics, rain that money on me, Tony. I can't do it alone. I need you. It's kind of what. I know that's reading way too much into it, but at the same time. It's you kind of can, because again, he's, blue collar guy, but then he makes his money from the fact that he, afterwards, from being an illegal aliens arm dealer, because he is a blue collar guy and got fucked over by, rich people.
Yeah,
but at the same time, the movie's well, even though that's the case, he's wrong in doing that, so, and make sure you think that corporation's a person and whatnot.
Well, I don't know if that's exactly the movie's theme, but I think that's
that's the overall theme. But that's a part.
It's a part of it.
It's a part of it, and the fact that the whole showdown when Peter goes to after Michael Keaton in his glorious ways, fucking pulls a Glock out of his goddamn glove compartment when he's taking his daughter to homecoming and threatens to kill him because he's figured out that he's Spider-Man. If he, he's like, you can go in there, give my daughter a great time. Not too great of a time. You're only 14.
Yeah, hopefully you're not getting a blowjob out of it.
She's 17. She's a senior. He's a freshman. So, okay, if he gets a blowjob, it's okay. Don't knock him out.
It's okay. Dad says it's okay. I don't know if that ever happens, but...
Just don't come home knocked up.
That's right.
Don't come home with a surprise bun, But no, he's threatening him with the gun, saying, you can go in there, show her a great time, and, I know you're Spider-Man, so just let this go. I'm the Vulture, so let this go. If you let this go, I won't fucking kill you. But if you come back, and try to do something, I will fucking kill you. I gotta protect me and my family. And he, runs out and chooses not to, and that's when he has the confrontation in the warehouse with, Michael Keaton, And that's like Michael Keaton's whole debate with him. Not debate really, because Spider-Man's like, you're wrong, and he's like saying like, no, we're blue collar guys. We're both from Queens. We've seen how shitty the world is. I got fucked. You're gonna get fucked because of these circumstances. We gotta stick together because we're blue collar guys.
Yeah, I mean,
but at the end of the day, it's like Tony Stark saves the day. So it's like, again, it's not like a focal point of the film, but it's literally put in there. So if you're observant, you could easily take away from the film, like, well, the blue collar guy gets fucked, but hey, at least Disney made their money.
Well, I think that the main issue with Michael Keaton is not that he's even doing like an illegal arms deal, but it's that the way that it's affecting the city, in that it's not just like he's supplying guns. He's supplying like super hyper violent and destructive weapons to people who don't really understand the concept of what they have.
But it's not his job, though.
No, it's not. No,
he's a fucking business.
No,
and any good businessman would tell you, like, it's not my job to tell you.
No, I agree, but I think that the film does in some ways find sympathy with Vulture, and I think that's why, Spider-Man doesn't kill people, so that's why he saves them at the end. But at the same time, it does want you to have a little bit of sympathy for Michael Keaton's character, because he has been screwed over. He does have a family that he has to protect. I do find a little bit of sympathy for him, but at the same time, I do love that Michael Keaton gets to just kind of flex that muscle, that acting muscle.
It's so great when he fucking disintegrates that one guy who threatens to fucking leave his crew, fucking shoots him and kills him, disintegrates him to a pile of ash like you're playing Fallout, and you go into vats and you fucking fire like a laser rifle to kill somebody, and it turns him to ash. And he's like, you just killed him. He's like, oh, it's the anti-gravity gun.
Yeah, I know.
But
also he doesn't care.
It's like, no, it's disintegrating. He's like, oh, fuck. Well, no, because at the same time it works. If he shot him with the anti-gravity gun, what the fuck would it do? You knock him back? You're like, yeah, the wind's knocked out. Yeah, I think you're gonna go tell people now. So no, I mean, it's a funny moment, but at the same time, you think about it, like, if he's pressed with the idea of, like, he might go and tell my wife that I'm actually, like, an arms dealer and alert the cops and whatnot, right? Because I pissed him off. Is knocking with an anti-gravity gun be like, you're right.
I was wrong. I'm
gonna
keep
fall
this
back,
a secret.
Fall back in line. No, killing him is actually the proper, the right.
Well, I would say, yeah, it's probably the right thing to do for Michael Keaton. But
I mean, like, and at the same time, so when he doesn't give a shit. It's not like, oh wow, he's a bastard. It's like, no, you're having the proper reaction right now. Woo! What a relief, you know, like. I don't have to worry about this asshole. I don't give a shit about anything. I'm gonna go tell you, and while I'm telling your wife, I'm gonna eat your cookies and fuck your wife. Because I have a beard.
So we've talked a lot about the plot, which we both agree is a very solid plot for this film. Spider-Man: Homecoming takes a lot of those teenage moments and it makes them into really important moments for Peter Parker. Not as backstory, but as more so like the actual crux of this film, the plot itself. What do you think about the humor in it? Because the humor is a huge part of Spider-Man in general, but also Spider-Man: Homecoming. And there's a lot of areas that are very funny in this film.
It's great. I think this is kind of the plan that they had, like obviously the tone to go for this film overall.
Not dark
or
not serious like Doctor Strange. Yeah. Almost, besides a few funny moments, pretty overall serious. Civil War overall very serious.
I mean, like, but at the same time, though, I think the plan was always to be, more comedic and leaning. It's almost like they saw Suicide Squad last year, like, ha ha ha, you fucking idiots! this is how you make, funny,
like a fun and entertaining.
Even though they already done that with Guardians of the Galaxy, they probably fucking the execs at Disney and
DC.
No, not DC.
Sony.
Disney and fucking, Marvel were probably laughing like, you fucking idiots. We're gonna show you how to, because it's almost like because we joked about like remember how in the 90s you had pop and rock songs added to films. They don't do that anymore, as we said earlier. It's fucking more like we gotta have vintage songs in there.
Right.
So what do they have in this song? They gotta have the fucking Ramones. Blitzkrieg Bop in here, because kids who are 14 years old seeing this movie fucking know the Ramones and Blitzkrieg Bop. I can guarantee a handful.
Yeah.
And so it's that's one of the main things, songs and anthems of this, is Blitzkrieg Bop. So it's almost they saw Suicide Squad and this is how you fucking do it, you idiots. This is how you do it. It's how you have fun, make it humorous, but also be serious at the same time. And they do it so well.
It's a seamless combination of action sequences and funny moments. And
not only that, they're so well ingrained in the fact. You know how I talked about before we were reviewing these films, how it's like the modern day film serials?
Yeah.
Because it's
and next time,
Yeah, I mean, because the films basically starts off I can't remember other films in the Marvel series starting off like this. So the film basically starts off with the whole Michael Keaton and what happens to him, and then goes into the opening credits. So it's almost like the whole way it's set up. It's almost like it is a long TV episode. It's a film serial. Yeah, and it's like they're embracing it. So I expect for down the line, you get a 5-minute intro into the film, and then it goes into the film intro. Here's what's going on, and what you might have missed from the last film. Now we're gonna go on what's going on now. So
this could easily come right after Civil War, because for the most part, there's some copying from Civil War of the events that take place in that to get viewers ready for what's going to happen in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
So, to set up how Spider-Man's now Spider-Man, because it's not an origin story. So to show how how Spider-Man, you gotta show him being shown up, at Civil War,
getting to take part in the Avengers. Using his suit that's given to him by Tony Stark. All of that is kind of shown in the beginning part of Spider-Man: Homecoming. It's really important to the movement of the film from there. But the film has so much humor in it, and it works so well that really, you're right, DC should take some notes on how to do a fun film. Not something that, and I don't think that all Marvel or DC films need to be in this style where it's kind of humorous, it's off and on action, humor, and a little bit of drama.
Well, no, because then it's becoming formulaic.
Yeah, that's not the goal, but I do think that there is, in Spider-Man: Homecoming, a really good combination of those features that make it a film to look for when you're trying to emulate that idea. When the Batman comes out, you're not looking for a film like Spider-Man: The Homecoming where it's a combination of action and comedy.
Which they might actually do.
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
It's almost like they might everyone's bitching about how all these films aren't entertaining enough. Maybe we should make the Batman less Nolan-esque and make it more,
I think they're misunderstanding the character itself. Batman is not funny. He is intentionally not funny. He's very serious.
At least the modern day
interpretation of Batman is. And Spider-Man is consistently funny. And that's who he is as a person and as a 14-year-old kid. He's a funny kid. And that's really what comes out of Spider-Man: Homecoming. There's a lot of funny moments. There's infusion of the Marvel Universe. Captain America shows up quite a few times.
Oh my god, fucking hilarious. Almost steals the show with
Just his little PSA announcements for all of the schools.
And they fit so seamlessly, like in gym class, and they roll out like a PSA, like, all right, here's a PSA for your kids to watch on Captain America. I think he's some kind of war criminal now.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's great because as both of us as with education degrees can like sit there and think like, yeah, like, oh yeah, we have Osama bin Laden giving you a PSA announcement, but we don't have the money to to fix that now.
To change him up. Yeah.
To change him up. So all right, here you go.
I mean, similarly,
so it like works perfectly. Like yeah, we know this asshole's he's a war criminal now, but
we gotta show it to you anyway.
I mean, Iron Man ain't gonna do this shit. By the way, as we talked about when we watched the film, this film could have been renamed Iron Man's National Lampoon Iron Man's Vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Because Robert Downey Jr. apparently just gets like an Indian vacation, gets to go around the world shooting these films.
Holiday Road should have been playing. I don't know why they didn't get the rights to fucking Buckingham's Holiday Road. Every time like Iron Man showed up like... I'm
going to guess that most of Robert Downey Jr.'s scenes were filmed just on location because he happened to be there. You know what I mean? It's like, well,
he's in Bengal, India.
Yeah, we can't really track him down, so just like send a film crew out and fucking film him there. And then we'll work it into the plot. It'll make sense when we get out.
Why is Robert Downey Jr. in India? He just is.
He just, Tony Stark, he travels. And that's the description for that. But I think like even those small details, the PSAs from Captain America, the various funny moments from Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, the weird classroom TV show that we get to see quite a few times that looks like was directed by Tim and Eric. They're all really funny moments and like they interrupt the plot, but they don't take away from the plot. It's really important. And I think that this film, as a Marvel film, probably is the funniest that we've seen, but it also works in terms of fitting in with the Spider-Man franchise and how funny and puntastic Spider-Man and Peter Parker can often be. It works really well. And I think that if anybody looking for like a superhero film that has both action and humor, Spider-Man Homecoming is probably the one that you want to see the most. It's besides Guardians of the Galaxy, which pretty much everybody realizes is sort of a mishmash of action and humor. Spider-Man Homecoming is yet again another perfect example of how you do that correctly. How you manage both action and humor. So we talked about the funny parts of the film, but what did you think about the action? Because that's always a big issue within both any superhero film, really, either Marvel or DC. How do you manage superhero films with CGI that can often look very, fake?
I think the action in this film is pretty good outside the end sequence, the end fight between Spider-Man and Vulture. And that's because it suffers from the same problem like almost most superhero films do nowadays. They've been Snyderified. Like, it's gonna be dark on a runway, no lights, shadows, nothing. You can't see anything.
Yeah, just things flying at you.
Yeah, just like random CGI shit. This film is a pleasant surprise in the fact that there's quite a few action sequences that take part in the day. When you're like, I can see what's going on.
Right, yeah.
Like, you almost want to be like fucking Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music and twirl around like, this action is alive with the sound of daylight. I think it's pretty good until like the end. Like, there's a couple of action sequences that do happen at night before the end, but they're framed well enough to where you can see what's going on.
Yeah.
I think the end sequence is the biggest problem in the action because the way the lighting is and the framing is you can't tell what the fuck's going on. And it's not a problem with this film. It's like all superhero films had this problem because they all got to happen in this big open area in the middle, dark, and there's no lighting or anything, and so you can't track and frame what's going on. But other than that, I think the action in this film is pretty good. The whole ferry sequence is very enjoyable. It's almost kind of when he's shooting the web to like kind of like, try to reconnect the ferry and like pull it together. It's reminiscent to a point of like Spider-Man 1 with, not Spider-Man 1 actually, Spider-Man 2 when he's trying to stop the subway from going off the tracks.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of,
with Doc
or even like the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
That's, collapsing and he's got it did seem very reminiscent of that, but in almost like in an homage to it. And not in a bad way, but it's again like you could see what's going on. Even when you think about the end fight in Superman and not Superman 1 and Spider-Man 1 between Green Goblin and Spider-Man, it happens at dark on a bridge in the Statue of Liberty. You can still see everything that's fucking happening in it though. It may not be like tantalizing and get the audience's imagination tingling today, like because it's not like as like overly thought out as it would be today. But everything that happens, you can see, you can process. Because it's framed and lit in a way to, like, it's not just random shit happening in the dark. Yeah, my explanation for the problems and the conclusion to this film really stem from the way that the plane that's been designed by Tony Stark can change and reflect its exterior.
I think even still, like, it doesn't matter. You gotta make it look, make it so people can understand what the hell's going on in the scene.
No, I agree. I think it's problematic for sure. And I think it's probably the worst part of this film in terms of the actual visuals, because I think that the film does a really good job of showing how fluid-like Peter Parker's movements are, even from the beginning when you're watching in like the home video iPhone camera, in terms of like how he kind of flips over the bed and he's kind of very like almost gymnastic in his movements. I think it works because then when you see the CGI effects of Spider-Man climbing walls and Spider-Man jumping over fences and things like that, it makes sense. It looks realistic because we've been kind of attuned to the way that he moves, and it's a pretty ingenious way of making us see like, okay, this is how Spider-Man generally moves, so like when we see CGI, it doesn't really look out of place because we're used to that. It's a good effect, and I think that even though like the webbing and which sometimes like even if you think about Spider-Man 1, some of the webbing looked really fake. Yeah, and in this film it doesn't. It really looks quite good. I was pretty impressed with the amount of effects that happen that still look pretty well grounded in reality.
No, I agree. I think the over reliance on CGI. I mean, it was CGI, but I mean,
sure.
I mean, I think
they've got like the best CGIers here. Like DC again. They steal some people.
Well, I say they fucking better at like the whole like Doctor Strange like effect of like walking on the buildings and like warping it and shit. Again, like practically, like I'm always going to be the person that says if you can go practical, go practical. Because even if it doesn't look as nearly as good as CGI could, when it's a practical effect, you can touch, see, and feel it and understand it. So with like the CGI effects like Doctor Strange, like the whole like building shifting and shit. It's like, yeah, you can't do that practically. Totally understand that. But like it still looked really good and really cool in that and like, effective. So if you got those same fucking people doing those effects, they better, whatever they do in CGI in this film, better, fucking get it right. Don't fuck it up.
Right. Yeah, and I think they do a really good job with that. It's probably another one of Spider-Man Homecoming's best aspects is that they really get the special effects down, and it doesn't look out of place. Even when you think of like Vulture,
his suit is literally like a giant just CGI effect. There's no way they like built a fucking gigantic practical suit with fucking fan blades and shit. Like, all right, Michael, we're gonna pretend you're gonna take off. No, you just stand here and pretend you got this giant ass suit on you.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think they did a good job with that. Pretty much everything looks realistic.
It reminded me of like Ivan Ooze from like the Power Rangers movie.
Uh-huh.
You're like at the end when he had like that big silver, or like Goldar, like like the way he's flying. I'm not saying it looked bad. I'm just saying like it's just like the way it looked. It's like but yeah, that's me not knowing a damn thing about Vulture.
Yeah, I don't either. Not. To be honest with you, I have no idea.
My knowledge of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery is pretty pretty limited.
So what did you think about, speaking of Rogues Galleries, what did you think about like the film's obvious villain development? Because we have a few villain characters in here that don't get a lot of room for development, or we don't even really meet them as characters.
School bully, just calling him Penis Parker.
That's right. But we also know that they are going to be important elements to the film later on. Like we have obviously Scorpion is going to be in this film or in the franchise at some point.
You'd hope. What a waste it'd be,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that this is what Marvel does really well, is that they're constantly looking forward. They really understand that they need to be setting it up elements of a Marvel film early. So even in Spider-Man Homecoming, while there's no announcement of a Spider-Man 2 or that he's coming back, there's still that idea.
Yeah, this is Spider-Man will return.
Well, yeah, but that's
and it's not hinting at like he'll be in Avengers 2.
Right.
It's like there'll be a Spider-Man 2.
I mean,
but again, at the same time, I think it's stupid for them to put that in the end of the film. It's like, of course, even if this film fucking tanked, you'd be like, Spider-Man 2 has already been greenlit. We're already got most of the shit fucking shot, except for like the scenes with Spider-Man because we need him to age a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they do a really good job of setting up that whole idea that this is a legacy. Like it's gonna live on past just this film. So when you have Michael Mando as Mac, also known as the Scorpion, and we don't even get a name drop that he's the Scorpion.
It's an end credits thing.
Yeah, it's an end credits thing. You have that idea is like, wow, people are drawn in because they're like, okay, this is coming back.
Nacho's gonna kill some people.
Right, exactly. I think it's really intriguing, and I think that probably that's what Marvel does best, and that's why they're so successful.
Yeah, and again, that's that's like Scorpion's it's another one that I'm not really too familiar with.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that it's pretty cool because again, when DC does the end wrap up, it's like Batman's going to Amanda Waller to find out more about these superhumans. Like, he's fucking Batman. Of course, what you're doing right now, it's nifty and cool, but it fucking makes sense. We already know that's going to happen. Like, this is, it's different.
Exactly. You're not...
Because again, Scorpion's not going to be the fucking villain in an Avengers film.
No.
Okay, he's going to be the next Spider-Man villain.
I think...
Which is not probably going to come out for another year or 2 years. It's going to, because we're going to have Thor. We're going to have another Avengers. We're going to have another, Iron Man or probably, Guardians before you get back to Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's going to be showing up probably in those films. But again, it's he's not going to be the central...
The figure of those films. Yeah. That's what I like about the Marvel films so much, is that they are setting up the advanced future game. It's not just like, all right, let's make a good movie now. It's like, let's make a good movie that also can project the future.
But again, that's what I said. They're the modern day film series.
Exactly. Yeah.
They already have it so well blocked out that.
And it really makes those DC... I don't want to keep harping on them, but it really makes those DC films stand out in terms of this seems rushed. It doesn't seem as well blocked out as what Marvel has. Well, not only that, but
because we saw, again, they played the fucking Justice League trailer when we went to see this film, and it's like, you can just tell watching, it's like, they obviously made Flash fucking a kid in this, because they had the Flash on television. Why can't you use the Flash from television? They have, Flash be in this film series, be a kid. Why? Because he's going to be like Spider-Man. He's going to be a wisecracking teenager. when you have the fucking Flash on television? WB, CW, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Same thing, like it's like why isn't Green Arrow? Like, why do you like not have Green Arrow? Out of all the fucking characters with like DC to form this modern day Justice League is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg. I like fucking Cyborg. Why is it fucking Cyborg? Yeah. It's not Green Arrow.
Right.
It's not Martian Manhunter. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's like you have, like, things already at your disposal, and you're like, no, we have certain tropes we have to fill.
Yeah.
We have to have a black guy. We have to have a smart mouth teen. And it's like, you have Steve Amell as Green Arrow. Why aren't you using Steve Amell? He's like, fit him in. Whoever the hell plays the Flash on CW, why aren't you having him? If you knew already, like, at the time, it's not like the Flash has been on TV for, like, 5 years. It's only been, like, 3 years?
3 or 4.
So, like, the starting at the same time as, like, the DC Universe and the film series, it's like, if you knew you're going to have the Flash, like, you're going to finally do a fucking Justice League film, why wouldn't you cast somebody in the TV show that could be in the fucking movie to tie it all together? You could even do, to boost ratings on a shitty cable network.
True.
Like, you know, to fucking make, like, get a good, like, an actor that's well established to be in the TV show and then add him into the movie. To, like, boost ratings and then sell the fucking movie.
It's true.
I don't have to have a fucking business degree to fucking figure this shit, like, think this shit out.
Yeah. And
this is just a drunken ramble. Like,
and with Marvel, they've got that figured out, and that's the difference, really.
Same thing is like with Gotham on Fox. Like, where's Gotham going? It's not gonna connect anywhere near like the movie. So like, why the fuck do it?
Yeah.
It's like everything. Like everyone knows like all this shit has to tie together now. It's like, so why do you have all these loose ends?
Yeah.
That you have no plans on connecting together? Like, well, we're just doing it because
because we want to, and it yeah. Yeah,
money is money, but it's like you could be making fucking much more money.
More money, yeah, exactly. If you take the route that Marvel's going.
That's why Disney's been successful for fucking 90 years of like pumping shit out.
And Spider-Man Homecoming is no different, and I definitely don't see anybody going to Spider-Man Homecoming, even people that are not fans of Spider-Man, and saying, well, I think I'm done with this. You know what I mean? This is making people...
If you don't love Michael Keaton in this film, you don't have a soul. and if you're a guy and you don't love this film simply because of Marisa Tomei, then you don't have a functioning penis.
And I'm upset. I'm upset that they even announced that they cut some Marisa Tomei parts.
Well, they had to do that because, like, with like Suicide Squad to explain away why. So she like, well, we did have more Jared Leto, shots to Joker, and that's why he's considering quitting. Though I do love that whole ending, I really do. Of him sneaking back into his room and Aunt May finding out, spoiler alert, that he's Spider-Man going, what the f-? And then, cuts to Blitzkrieg Bop. That's actually really, and we didn't really talk about it. We briefly kind of talked about Marisa Tomei and her beautiful butt and tits, but she, for the limited role she has in this, she is still great.
She's a good Aunt May. I like her a lot, and people were expecting like an old Aunt May, and I think she does a great job with it. Like you said, they make her a little bit frumpier than a normal Marisa Tomei would
They're
be.
forcing it, because again, they're giving her like the big glasses. I know the whole big glasses thing is in now, but it's literally giving her Sally just like she's going to be on more like you're not the father,
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's not even big glasses in the sexy sense. It's big glasses in like, I have like negative 70 vision.
I'm on Ricky Lake.
Right. Yeah. No, but I think still, even as much as they frump her up,
they have plenty of butt shots in there. She's getting paid by the ass. Like, are you shooting my ass again? Yes, Marissa, we are. That's another $2 million. Disney's got the money, Marissa. Okay, we'll give you the check.
You can't get away from Marisa Tomei's sexiness in the film. Even if you're supposed to find her as more of a matriarchal character, you're still thinking like, well, they're Peter Parker's kind of related to her. He could still come on her tits.
Again, that's where I said like the whole fact that I think only twice he calls her Aunt May throughout the entire film. He's going like May. So that's why I said like, so in this franchise, what's the relationship? Because again, it's like it's like you can easily imagine like him like 14-year-olds like waking up like, oh, I splooged on Aunt-May's tits. Like, you know, like it's like, yeah, no shit, you just like went to bed eating Thai food of her like resting your head on her tits and like, you know, close up on her ass. Like, of course you're gonna be like, oh, you know, like, you know, having like, I need to go to church to, you know, pray to Jesus and, you know, say a few Hail Marys to
I'm pretty sure
get the
that
devil out of me.
Marvel's not going to work the incestual ties into this film, but perhaps Tony Stark will get in there.
Well, maybe. Well, no, they make that clear.
Yeah, I know.
Like she's a nice Italian woman. It's like,
maybe Ned will get some. Or maybe that guy at the Thai restaurant.
It's gonna be John. It's gonna be John Favreau. Happy's gonna, you know. Peter's gonna be coming in one day. Like, hey, Happy, I've been looking for you. And he's gonna come in like on the couch, and it's gonna be fucking John Favreau plowing Marissa, and he's gonna have like a smoke in his mouth. Like, hey, kid, we need you upstate.
But you're right. Marisa Tomei, super hot in this film. And if you're not enjoying that, then I don't know. You're missing out.
Doesn't matter what your orientation is.
No, it doesn't. She's hot regardless.
Yeah.
Just like I think Robert Downey Jr. looks pretty fly in this film.
He's always a smarmy douchebag.
I know he is,
Hey,
but it's
like,
still, I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's fun now that he's kind of making fun of himself in a way. And it's like, wow, look how ridiculous.
But at the same time,
it's not as
fun. It's not as fun as like him making fun of himself in like Tropic Thunder.
No, it's not as fun as that. But
which, by God, don't you feel old? That's like almost 10 years old now.
Yeah.
No, not yeah. I feel fucking. So
I feel old.
Like thinking about that, like, oh my God, Tropic Thunder's 10 years old.
All right, so before we get done with the podcast, what were your favorite moments from Spider-Man: Homecoming?
I love the whole interaction. The end of the second act where Michael Keaton's taking his daughter and Peter Parker to the dance, and he's literally like surmising like through what his daughter's saying, like this little shitbag Spider-Man, and just like how his face is like turning, and you can like and like how he's explicitly going from like somebody who's grounded into someone who's like, I can't wait to fucking kill this little shit.
Yeah, right.
Like just seeing the delight on his face, like this little shitbag Spider-Man, I'm gonna fucking kill it. Like just like see it, like oh, it's so great because again, throughout the entire film up until that point, Michael Keaton's pretty grounded. Then like when that point hits, he's like is so like just enjoying the fact like I'm a fucking bad guy. I'm the villain of this film. I need to fucking enjoy it, you know, like I need to have like this great again. He's probably like again, as I said earlier in the film, in this podcast, I loved Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin. He throughout the entire film is hamming it up and like enjoying being hammy and like just like loving it. But I loved in this film, I think Michael Keaton's slightly better in the fact that like he goes from being grounded and then just enjoying and loving and accepting his role as being a villain and he just like, you know, just reveling in it. It's like it's almost like you're thinking about like what would Michael Keaton be in Batman if he was the Joker instead of Batman? Like just like enjoy, like reveling in the fact that like I'm fucking crazy now. I can't wait to fucking kill this 14-year-old. I'm gonna enjoy every little second of it. So I love that. I love Michael Keaton's transformation in this film. I love the fact in this film that there's no background story.
Yeah.
Besides the little hints that are dropped, like when Peter Parker's fat, friend is like, "How did you become Spider-Man?" And it's like, "Oh, Spider bit me." I love the fact that they have like no interest in a backstory.
Yeah.
And that they're more focused on what's what he's doing now after Civil War, what's going on, and how that relates. And we didn't really mention it, but Robert Downey Jr. in his small parts as Tony Stark, very enjoyable. He's even more so than like an Iron Man, because he's an asshole in like the Iron Man films and Civil War and whatnot. Even more so, he's like hamming it up, just being like a total douchebag. Like, "Nah, hi kid, yeah, how's it going? Yeah, things are, yeah, well, I sent this, little baby thing, keep tracking, yeah, gonna go. Are you driving, Tony? Yeah, I gotta go. Yeah. Thing, shit happens when you're rich. It's great. Again, as you said, it's literally like they took fucking Robert Downey Jr. on vacation. Like, yeah, Rob, we were paying you $5 million for this. We gotta film it. He's like, no. I'm hopping an Audi.
Really.
You're gonna put the Audi in the film? Sure, we'll pay for the rights to have the logo. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go in the Audi down to Bengali and fuck some, whores and then, eat some curry. How's that sound? Is that good to you? Yeah. Like, sure, all right, yeah, okay, we'll figure it out later. Okay.
Yeah, it does seem like that, yeah.
But, yeah, I think overall the casting in this film is great.
Yeah.
I think everyone in the film does a really good job. I think it's a 2+ hour film. It doesn't feel like it at all. No. It's a very easy, enjoyable watch. I think it's got a great blend of action that you would expect from a modern day comic book film, but also the right sense of humor that tinges with Silver Age comics, and the right amount of character development and interest that you can stay engaged. It hits all the right notes for me. I think this is probably my favorite Marvel film. Not just Marvel film, probably my favorite comic book film. Okay. Of the modern age. I'm not gonna say pre 2010. I would say it's probably my favorite of the modern era.
In a rating out of 10 Peter Parker spiderwebs?
Give it an 8.5.
8.5?
It's my favorite of the Marvel films so far that I've seen. It's got the best blend of humor, of storyline. I just can't. I mean, I don't know enough about the comic books to particularly say like how you said how someone's oh it's more like the Ultimate
You're right.
universe. I can't really make that judgment, but to me, I would say this is a pretty good balance between what you'd expect from Spider-Man. If you know anything about the comics, like we do, a little bit, you'd expect humor and action, and it's got the most perfect blend. As much as I love the original Spider-Man, it is brooding. It's got comical moments, but it is more brooding and more, leaning towards the, ho-hum, what's going on. And I think this film does a great job of being action, suspense, humor, and you get every character in this film you can root for and get engaged in. His friends aren't annoying. His enemies you can hate. So you can everything in this film really clicks. The only thing I'd say that doesn't really click is I don't really care for the whole cyberization of his suit, of making it more like an Iron Man suit. He's got all these things. And it's that to me is no. I mean, and I think that is, as your friend said, is more ultimate than regular Spider-Man. I don't really care for the whole him having all that shit. That should be Spider-Man shouldn't have all that shit. That should be more like an Iron Man type thing. Of having, I got surveillance cameras and this and that and drones and all this other shit. So I hope in the future films they tone that down. Make it more about his power and him having to deal with his power and how to react in certain situations than him having, a super suit. Because if he has a super suit, whether he has the powers or not, it doesn't really fucking matter. Because if he's got a super suit that can do all this stuff, it's not like his webbing is from his superpowers. It's the chemical.
Right. Yeah, it's a thing that he's designed.
Yeah, so it's mitigates his his uniqueness. So I do hope they get away from that, because otherwise, in that sense, it'll become more he's just gotta. And no, who gives a shit about his powers?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think some of my favorite moments are probably Coach Wilson delivering that line about Captain America being a war criminal. It's pretty funny. Hannibal Buress.
That's great.
In general, is
just
really
just
good
thinking about
that.
how much money did Chris Evans get paid just to show up and be all right, kids, I'm gonna tell you why having sex is wrong.
Yeah, right.
And it's almost like, Chris, I'm assuming as soon as you got out of that pod, some woman was already on your dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh my god, you got abs now and shit. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Martin Starr's really good in this too, as the teacher that's leading them to their academic competition. That delivery when he's talking to the newscast about them nearly dying in the Washington Monument, saying I wasn't going to lose a student on a field trip, not again. It's a great delivery. It's a great dry moment that works really well. I think that Spider-Man Homecoming really works with those dry moments. And those are probably some of the funniest scenes that it's got. I would agree. I think I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's really solid. It's probably one of the best Marvel films that I've seen in terms of being both funny, action-packed, and really leveraging the length of time that the film runs. Because this is a 2 hour and 15-minute affair, and it doesn't really feel like it. It feels pretty short in comparison.
I didn't look at my watch once throughout this.
No, exactly. And I think it does a really good job of crafting a plot that does require that amount of time. So, in that sense, we criticize a lot of superhero films because of their length and always constantly running over the 2 hour mark. But in this sense, it really does need that 2 hour and 15-minute running time to get to where it needs to go. And it's pretty important for this film. So I would say Spider-Man Homecoming is probably the most successful Marvel film that we've seen so far on the podcast.
It might not be the biggest box office.
No.
But I would.
But in terms of a review for this show, the one that we've seen from Marvel, that's the best.
Even DC, I'd say this is the best.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Not since I think this is probably my favorite
superhero film
since Dark Knight.
Yeah, and that's not something that we take lightly too, because in general, if you've listened to the show, you'll know that when we watch superhero movies, pretty much the consensus is, yeah, it was all right. It's pretty good. But in this, it goes a lot farther than that. It's definitely one of the best superhero films that we've covered on the show.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we got next week?
I don't know. What are you thinking?
I don't have a film on hand right now.
All right, I do then.
You do?
We'll do Dread.
We're doing Dread. That's what I figured, but
we'll finally do Dread. It's on Blu-ray. I just saw it at Walmart. They have the 4K version.
Ooh. A 4K version.
I'm not gonna buy it. I don't have a 4K TV, but I mean they got it now. That's nice. It's like they had a small rack of 4K movies, and it's like, wow, out of all the 4K movies gonna be promoting.
Dread.
All right, yeah.
So we're covering Dread for next week.
I can't wait.
It'll be fun. I've never seen it.
You better love it. If you don't love it, I'm gonna hate you forever.
I'll do my best.
It'd be like if we saw Mad Max Fury Road. Like,
you were like, it's all right.
Not me. I'm saying if it was you.
Oh, if it was me. Oh, okay. Well, Dread is next week.
I mean, if it was just me going, yeah, it's all right, then I wouldn't suggest it. Wouldn't be like, let's go see that.
True.
Do you really? Who wants? Okay, no offense, and this is kind of showing our hand. Who wants to fucking see a review of something that's
yeah, that's true. Yeah, no.
You either want somebody to praise something that you already and we're again showing our hand, being like, hey, this is what people want. You either want people to say like. This is why
love it,
and so people can be affirmed like this is why something is great, or like this is why something fucking sucks.
I agree,
and we need to nobody wants to hear
a review that's middle of the road.
How many reviews of Ebert of him hey, it's 2 out of 4 stars.
Yeah.
No one people remember the shitty reviews and the good reviews.
No, I agree. So we'll do Dread next week.
I'll be very disappointed if you're just like
yeah. Really?
Not Judge Dredd.
Not Judge Dredd, the remake Dredd.
Yeah, just Dredd. Tom Hardy.
That's right. So you can...
Not Tom Hardy. Carl Urban, my bad. Fucking the new McCoy. The new McCoy. New Bones.
So you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher.
Now that I think about it, Tom Hardy would play good Dredd. If he wasn't locked up,
it would be good
for several different things. Yeah,
he would be good.
He'd be good Dredd.
Continuing that thought, you can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, any other podcast app that you normally use. we're on there. Leave us a review and subscribe to us. We really appreciate it. We're on Twitter at Blood and Black Rum. Follow us, tweet us. We'll respond back to you, we promise. We're on Facebook. And also, we have a Facebook group, which I've been promoting quite a bit because it allows us to send you notifications. You can discuss the videos that we cover. You can discuss episodes. It's a really great, tool that we're using. So join our Facebook group. It's on there. Search for us, Blood and Black Rum Podcast. We have an email address, bloodandblackrumpodcast@gmail.com. Send us any recommendations that you have. Let us know what you think of the show. We'll probably feature you on the show as well, so we'll give you a shout out. And finally, we have a Patreon. You can donate to us at patreon.com/bloodandblackrumpodcast. Any amount will do it for us. We really appreciate anything that you can generate and send our way. It just helps us run the show. So any monthly donation, we really, really appreciate. Other than that, we will be back next week with our coverage of Dread. Thank you for listening to our Spider-Man Homecoming episode, and we hope to see you next time.
Take care.